We shall now head to business and immigration law updates. This portion of the show is written, hosted, and directed by attorney Ramesh Khurana of the Khurana Law Firm. The moderator here is attorney Kenneth Haber.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Today is the beginning of a new era for immigration in the United States. President Obama on November 20th announced new immigration procedures and new immigration rights for people who've been here, and he's implementing them now as we are sitting here talking to you. And I'm sure that you want to know all about them. I'm Kenneth Haber. I'm a former Assistant United States Attorney. I'm a former Senior Attorney in the Inspector General's office. With me, though, is Ramesh Khurana, who is an excellent immigration attorney, and he's here to explain all those different changes to the extent that we can possibly know them, because so many of them are in process right now. And this is the Capitol Forum. Welcome, Ramesh.
Thank you, my dear friend Ken. It's really a great pleasure to be here in the studio and answering your questions.
Well, your being here is very timely, of course, with the immigration changes coming up. President Obama, in his address to the nation, said that the undocumented persons who've been living in the United States for more than 5 years and are parents of U.S. citizen or green card children will be allowed to come out of the shadow. What exactly is to happen to these people?
No, this is a great question. Like you said, when the President Obama addressed the nation on November 20th, and he expressed the hope that whatever changes he's going to announce in the immigration policy will help people come out of the shadow. I think you and I will agree on that, because people who are undocumented and they have been living here, hiding themselves, not able to drive and not able to work legally, and maybe some of the people are getting paid under the table, and this is a kind of human rights violation. And President Obama did a great job by way of an executive order, and in fact this has been much awaited. We have been waiting for this order to come for the last so many years, but President Obama made a commitment, and he said that after the elections are over he was going to announce it, and he really kept his promise, and he did that. It has brought a sweeping changes in the immigration arena. Now your question is, what's happening to parents of U.S. citizen children or green card holders? Now President Obama has said as part of the executive order, and let me explain to you, based on the President Obama's executive order. Now the Department of Homeland Secretary has already circulated a memorandum which has been issued to USCIS and ICE and CBP outlining those changes. Now whatever is stated in the memorandum, now it states that parents of U.S. citizen children and green card holders who have been living here since January 1st, 2010, now almost 5 years. So they are going to be eligible to apply for work authorization. So this is just for the work authorization. Remember, Ken, that President Obama has not promised to give them green cards or United States citizenship. What he is saying is, come out of the shadow, we are going to give you work permits so that you can work legally. And these work permits are going to be given for a period of 3 years. And after 3 years, again it depends what the order says, and the hope is, in the meantime, Congress will act and probably they will pass the law. So President Obama has exercised his prosecutorial discretion. Nobody else knows better than you do, because of your background. You are a defense attorney and former assistant U.S. attorney. So he has just exercises the prosecutorial discretion. And there is a lot of criticism by some congressmen. They said, how President Obama can change the law? But this is not the case. All executive branch people, officers, they do exercise prosecutorial discretion. Just to give you an example, if a person is overspeeding, he is stopped by a police officer. Now he asks some questions from the driver, and if he is satisfied for some reasons that probably this is something which he should let it go, he will just let it go. Now though this person has violated the law, but he allows him to go, maybe he issues a warning, he says, okay, be careful, and this is called the exercise of prosecutorial discretion. So same way, President Obama has exercised his prosecutorial discretion and issued an executive order, and this order becomes effective in respect of certain changes immediately, and in respect of certain other changes where regulatory requirements are there, regulatory changes are to be made by Department of Homeland Security agencies, which is going to take some time. And one thing has to be remembered, President Obama has not given any specific dates. So the hope is certain things will happen in next couple of months, and certain things will take maybe even 6 months. So the good news is the parents of United States citizen children and green card holders children, they are going to get the work permits, and the estimated number is close to 5 million. 5 million people are going to be benefited just with the change of this law.
Wow.
So that's very encouraging news.
It's more than 5 million people being benefited, because if they can come out of the shadows, then they can be taxed, and the whole country will benefit from it.
I agree with you. You know, this is what immigrants advocates have been arguing all these years. Like, if you allow these people to come out of the shadow, if you allow them to work, they are going to file their tax returns, pay taxes, and they are not dangerous to the community because they will have valid driver licenses. Otherwise, we know that some of these people are even driving cars, you know, and they are risking not only their lives, they are risking other people's lives as well. So this is common sense ordinance.
Yes, definitely.
Yes, I agree with you.
I agree with you.
Thank you.
I think
Thank you.
we agree that it's about time that something get done there.
Yes, it has been overdue.
It has been.
Yes.
Can you please explain to us the reforms to people in removal proceedings? First of all, what's a removal proceeding, and what's the implication of these reforms to those people?
Okay. Now, the term removal proceeding is a new name which was given, of course, long time back for the deportation proceedings. Now, whenever somebody is here without any immigration status, so that person has got to be deported, that person has got to be removed from the United States to his or her home country. And removal proceedings are started by issuance of an NTA, which is called the notice to appear. And when the notice to appear is issued to a person, then that person is given a specific date to appear before the immigration judge in an immigration court. So all these removal proceeding cases, now these are before the immigration judges in the immigration courts, not before the normal courts. So when a person is in the removal proceeding, now we are expecting that some kind of administrative relief might be coming in future. But at this point, there is no relief for the administrative proceedings, because when this DACA program came in 2012, at that point of time, some administrative relief was given at the same time along with DACA, like those people whose cases were pending before the immigration courts, and those who are not felons or who are not any security risk, now their cases were administratively closed. That doesn't mean that people are free or they have been given work permits. No, the cases were administratively closed because they are not considered risk to the United States. But these cases can come back on the docket any time when the system decides so. But so that's the kind of administrative relief which has been given to non-criminals. So at this point, the hope is because the docket of the immigration judges, those are full, and nowadays the people who are before the immigration judges, they are even not getting dates for years. And even one first appearance, which is called the master calendar appearance, that takes about a year to show before the immigration judge. So now the priority will change, because priority is now only for the criminals, so that way things will get expedited. This is the hope.
In terms of expediting the matters, do you think by having these changes in the removal procedures, it's going to permit faster movement concerning the felons and security risks?
Yes, can definitely, because now focus is going to be on removal of criminals or felons. So when the focus is there, then courts are not basically clogged with ordinary cases. So courts and ICE, they can focus on criminals so that they are removed from the United States as soon as possible.
That's good. That's good. Could you please explain why parents of the DACA program beneficiaries are left out of the President's executive order?
Ken, this is again a very good question, because when we were expecting the executive order to be issued, we were expecting that parents of DACA, like those children who are covered under DACA, they would also be covered. But as opposed to our expectations, they have been left out. So we understand that a lot of discussion went in the background, and the White House officials, they had discussions with the Justice Department and other legal authorities, and it was considered that giving any kind of relief to parents of DACA beneficiaries might amount to changing the law, and which would fall within the domain of the Congress. So because it was a kind of borderline situation, so that's why Obama administration decided not to include parents of DACA beneficiaries at this point. You know, maybe in future something may happen like that, but not at this point, because the only argument is the keeping all the families together.
It's good to keep families together.
Yes.
When you talk about resources and you talk about discretion, prosecutorial discretion, when I was in the U.S. Attorney's Office, we certainly did exercise it. You have limited resources. Credit card companies would come to us and want us to prosecute violators, but they're, in those days, mailing credit cards out unasked for. And people were stealing them out of a mailbox, and we said, no, we're not doing it because we have better crimes to go after. You're exposing yourself to this, so you take the consequences. But it certainly makes sense that that there is a prosecutorial determination of what is a proper case to go after and what isn't.
And moreover, this is not the first time that President Obama has exercised his prosecutorial discretion to give these benefits to some illegals who have been residing here. Even past presidents, if you look at the history, they have been doing it all the time. So this is not something new. So I think our cameraman is indicating that we have got to wrap up, time is over. But I really appreciate asking me these questions, which are very current, and I'm pretty sure audience must be looking answers to these kinds of questions, and these questions became more permanent because of the televised speech of President Obama on November 20th. Thank you very much for being with us, and thank you, Ken.
Thank you. And thank you for joining us in the Capitol Forum.
Thank you.